All right, we're at 6 o'clock. So it's 6 o'clock and if recording, we're going to go ahead and start the Windsor Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, May 14th. And we will begin with if there's any public comments prior to the beginning of the meeting. If anybody has anything they would like to say right now? Okay, hearing none. Changes to the agenda. I don't have any changes. Anybody else? Okay. Minutes. And first we're going to go back to, well, it says April 9th, one's to the last meeting. Let's go ahead and start with those. Do we have any questions about that, or would we have a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to approve.
Seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Ready? Now, approval of the minutes that were edited from April 23rd to include additional public comments that weren't included in the notes in the minutes at that time, and those have since been revised and added to. So we now have that document.
I think that was the other way around.
What's that?
I think we just approved the ones that we had.
Yeah, the April 9th
the
ones were the ones that there were public comment.
I thought the April 23rd was the ones that was missing
Well,
public.
that was the last meeting, right?
The 23rd was the last meeting when it was brought up about the 9th. So the
Oh, I'm
comment.
sorry, the April 9th was the pre-approval. All right, you're right.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to
I
make
got my
sure.
dates backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last.
That being said, the 23rd minutes look good. Thank you, Howard.
Yep. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from April 23rd?
I'll make a motion to approve the 423 minutes.
Second.
Gotta jump in together and get your name on there.
slow.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. The zoning bylaws. As of the end of the last meeting, we had done basically the final edits going through the whole document of the things that we saw. Since then, what I'd like to do tonight is do a review back through them. Should be relatively quickly, taking a look at changes, and mainly because we want to bring Holly up to speed on anything that happened so that she's with us. And then the intent is if there's no changes, or if there are any minor changes, we can make them. And at that point, we could make that the official draft for us to then begin moving forward with the end process of this. And that would be that draft is then made available to the public here in the town offices. The draft will be sent to the adjoining towns for them to also review. At the next meeting, we will set a date for a public hearing on the draft, as long as there's nothing that's come up in between. And at that point, we'll have the public hearing to present that and move forward with the final steps. After that hearing, if everything's fine, we'll do our final approval, and it will go to the select board is the next step of the process. They too will have a hearing with it. And at that point in time, they will approve it or not. And then it goes on from there. So that's the process, as I understand it, that's going to happen. So, as far as guiding us through this, my intent was, unless you guys have a better way to do it, was to just go through the document and go to all the highlighted areas that were changed and just kind of If somebody has any additions or subtractions, we can go with that, but otherwise we did this at the last meeting, so I just want to make sure that everything looks the way it should because Holly wasn't here. And I think it's important that she's up to date with this. We didn't really make many changes last time, but we did make a few. If that makes sense. Why don't I let you do that? Why don't you guide us
Okay,
through it?
so as far as I remember, we already covered these parts and we stopped at,
We did all of section
dimension-
2.
Yeah, the dimensional standards at the end. We finished all the districts. So if there is anything that, if we're in agreement with these, so these are the final ones.
The only thing we did is we went through the document and tried to remove planned residential development
Right.
everywhere we could find it and
Okay.
replace it with planned unit development.
But the meeting before that,
And we've done that
reviewed
too. We
all
found a
these
couple of other
sections
spots.
And we approved all the dimension standards.
Yep.
So I don't know if we need to go through these again.
Well, let's poll the board. Does anybody feel we need to go through the dimension standards again? Are we all good with it?
Outside of some formatting goofs, I didn't see much. I took a cursory look at it the other day. I see one potential error on section 2.3 for low density residential. Minimum frontage is page 12. Minimum frontage, it looks like maybe we had tried to change it from 150 to 175, but the 1 is still there. So now it reads 175 on the version I'm looking at. Was that intentional or? Because that would be an increase,
No, it should be without change.
just 75.
Yeah.
Right. That sounds right to me.
On for this table, we're on agreement on all the things listed there. The dimension standards for the following section 2.4. We reviewed these and approved these dimension standards.
Yeah, we actually reviewed them again at the last meeting, so really quick, so.
Join the four.
Jay,
See you here for you. There we go. Excuse me.
I'm just triple checking everything, but
yeah, I am.
it all still looks correct.
Section 2, the table 2.7 at page 17 and page 18. We only had comments. We did not change anything in the
Yes,
district
that's right.
standards. So there's nothing to accept or reject here.
Right,
The following one also, we reviewed this section. Table 2.8.
Insert myself, though. It looks like you're cheating off of his computer, and if you want your own. Oh, you have, do have one here. Oh, okay, you guys are just close, so I'm sorry.
Trying to find the start button.
we're just doing the buddy system.
Thank you.
I got my.
That's actually not the one we're looking at the
Okay.
working.
I think we stopped at the industrial district and the last thing we discussed is whether we have any residential, like multi-family or single-family dwellings within these tables.
Yeah. What I was recalling from that is that it's too difficult to separate with the districts we have right now. We have the like northern industrial district and the southern one, both on Route 5, one in the north end of town, like Artisans Park, and then the other one is down by the construction place. And we opted not to do residential in there because of the difficulty of making one uniform regulation for both those areas, right?
Right, and we discussed that because
We don't want to do remapping and what we're trying to do.
not with this, but we will with the town plan. And the discussion was fairly specific because it came up with an actual real world situation.
Right.
Of the Miller Construction Company property, who's looking to do something different with that property that potentially could have residential on it. And being industrial, it doesn't allow it in that way. So that's something that needs to be addressed in a different manner. I think, and we talked about this the last time, but that basically they have to mean something. If it's industrial, it's got to be industrial, and it shouldn't have residential mixed. It's just not, doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I think I raised last time, I would be in favor of it being conditional use if it doesn't conflict with the town plan, which I have not double checked, but I think the rest of you guys weren't necessarily on board with that. Again, maybe because of the differences between the two industrial
Right.
districts.
They're very different. And even under conditional use, I think the northern area, we looked at the map at the time, and the issue is that there are some areas that could be residential up by the northern industrial area that's right on Route 5 that made no sense
Yeah.
being zoned the way it was. And to me, that came back to not a zoning bylaw issue, it comes back to a mapping issue. That really needs to be done in a way that has some more commonality. If it was, for instance, like a roadside business or anything along there, that does allow that to become residential also, and it should be really mapped that way instead of strict industrial. And we're gonna end up dealing with that, you know?
The weird thing is that the permitted uses less residential accessories and structure. This is something that does not stand alone. It has to be.
Where do you see that?
Well-
It's the same table, 2.9, it allows accessories, structured, residential.
I would think that would be accessory to like an existing non-conforming in that case, right? Like if there's a residential use already within that area that predates zoning, they could still build an ADU.
Jason, are you with us?
Oh, it does look Jason.
I think he's on the call.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think if there's an existing residence in the industrial district, yeah, they could either do an accessory dwelling unit or a garage or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So,
So you suggest we keep it like this, not to remove it?
You know, if it's not been a problem, I'd say let's keep it. And I think I would suggest you revisit it after you do the town plan work, and then, then you can make any adjustments needed at that point.
so in there, we were striking under permitted use number 5, multifamily dwelling. That was in there, and then it was struck, and we want that struck, right? And that's essentially what it was coming down to, is that one line there.
Is
Because
that actually in the bylaw right now, or is that something that was a suggested addition that has then been struck?
The multifamily, this is an addition.
Yeah.
I think it- I
I
was
thought
gonna
so.
say, I
So
think
we're not
it was an
striking
addition.
something that's currently in the.
No, we're not taking out of the current.
Yeah.
It's in this document, it's in here, and I'm
I have a
suggesting
problem with this version.
that we should get that back out of there.
Yes.
So, okay.
For
So we keep
what
it-
it's worth, I believe there might be a few residences in the Beeble and the Miller lots presently.
Right. I would think that
Yeah, I
we
think there's one. There may be 2, but I believe it's only 1.
wouldn't we need to keep this, Jason, to comply with the ADU statute, even if it only applies to existing non-conforming buildings? Or is that only in districts that allow residential?
Yeah, I think that's only in districts that allow residential.
So we don't have to do this necessarily, but
I don't think you have to do it, but yeah, maybe make no changes here for now, and then we can revisit it later.
I certainly don't want to remove it, to be clear. I'm just trying to figure out what we have to do versus what's a choice.
So your preference is to leave multi?
My preference is, my preference is to leave the ADU and the accessory structure.
Oh, yeah, okay, right. Because that was there.
All right, so next section. The flood hazard overlay district. Did you review this section last time?
There were a couple of emails about that. I don't know that we talked about it at the meeting. My observation on that is that you include here the river corridors, but then there's no corresponding river corridor standards. So I would suggest you get rid of it for now.
I'm gonna get my mouse off. This drive me crazy. I can't keep that on this.
My understanding, Jason, that we will need to update all our flood regulations according to the state requirements after we're done with the town plan.
I don't know if you have to, but I think I think it would be a good idea to look at it.
Isn't it a requirement for most of the municipalities to comply with Act 121 and river corridors?
Ultimately, the state's going to take over jurisdiction of regulating river corridors. But if the town wants to do it, local control kind of thing, then that would be a good thing to talk about. I think the issue with the model, flood and river corridor model that's out there by the state is that it requires compensatory flood storage. And I think that's going to be an issue in downtown Windsor with the brownfield stuff. So I think it's worth thinking that through in a lot more detail as a next step.
Okay. So we want to keep it as is. The only addition that I added is number 4, the overlay district shall also include all maps, river corridors and small stream setbacks. I don't know if I did that or someone else. As adopted by, this Agency of Natural Resources. Shall we keep this or remove it? As
My recommendation is to eliminate it for now, but that's just me. So whatever you guys want to do.
okay.
Well, my 2 cents is that it's not really kind of in the purvey of what we're trying to do with this added to the bylaws anyway, because it doesn't have anything to do with conforming to the new standards. This has, I think as Jason says, this has something that's going to be an important discussion during the town plan as to what to do with those segments of river corridor and some of the other areas that we need to kind of look at and have some sort of a concept of what we would want to see going on there. And it may not be a bad idea to just say we'll follow the state statutes rather than local control. It'll be up for debate then, but I know one thing about the flood insurance programs and all of that is they're a moving target. They seem to always be crisis managed. So the last big flood that happens, all of a sudden they want to come out and do a bunch of different changes to them, finding out that their old standards didn't actually achieve what they wanted. So it's something to think about. And I think, but I don't know that that's something we need to address at this point. You guys?
I'm okay letting the state jurisdiction just kick in when it kicks in.
Just
Thanks.
remove it.
Okay with it.
Okay. So let's just go ahead and get it out.
Just mark it like this for now. Okay, that makes sense that we're removing section C's the title because there is no dimensional standards here, so The only addition is 4.2, where this overlay state flood hazard or river corridor regulations for underlying zoning district. So do you want to do changes here to this sentence or also keep it as it was?
That I feel like we can leave. I mean, it's just a disclaimer, basically.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can too. And it also references the state flood hazard regulations there. I think it's okay to leave that.
Okay, for the note, the addition is for what you have in red. It's just rephrasing and to provide more clarity. Good with this?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's good. Anybody else comment on that? Yes, oh, maybe. That's good.
Okay. Table 2.11. This page, the only thing that we did is we removed this sentence that did not make any sense.
I'm always
Unless otherwise
removing things that don't make any sense. So, okay.
All right, now for the use standards.
Wait, sorry, shouldn't we
So
just remove that whole section C then if we're gonna remove where we just were? If you just cut that second part of the sentence, it just says standards as set forth for the underlying district.
makes sense.
It's not even a complete sentence.
Right, yeah, I agree. I think that's good point of clarity. It all should go.
So this section, when I added it, it was because, you know, these are the guidelines from the state on accessory dwelling.
Where'd
So,
you go down to? That's,
Following Article 3.
we want,
Specific
yeah,
use
yeah,
Standards, page 23.
Yep.
Number 2. This
Yep.
this is the language from the statutes, so
yep.
I think we should keep it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think we all agreed that just boilerplating in the exact statute is our safest bet, and any places that we can do that.
I did look up, by the way, while we're on the subject of ADUs, just to clarify on the previous question. The statute is 24 VSA 4412 for those following along, but the only exclusion for everyone gets an ADU is flood hazard areas or fluvial erosion areas. So it's except for flood hazard and fluvial erosion areas, bylaws adopted pursuant to section blah, blah, blah. No bylaw shall have the effect of excluding as a permitted use one accessory dwelling unit that is located within or pertinent to a single family dwelling on an owner occupied lot. So it's anywhere except a flood hazard area, basically.
Yeah.
So that would still apply to existing non-conforming and
Yeah.
the industrial. But that kind of relates to this section too,
Mhm.
because it's saying if you're non-conforming, if you're below the minimum lot size, you still get an ADU as long as you have a septic permit or sewer hookup.
Yes, it's already listed in the condition. It even says that lots under the minimum lot size for the district may have an accessory dwelling provided the project complies with applicable district setbacks, coverage limits, and holds a valid state water system and potable water. So,
Mhm. Good.
okay, let's move to the next one. It's only had a comment for number 4, but we did not change anything in the text.
So now we got a ways to go.
Okay. All the way down. No changes to these sections.
No. And telecommunications only had Harry's words of wisdom.
Many people have words of wisdom.
Yeah, but yours are more wise.
Article 4, we agreed that we're only using a planned unit development instead of planned residential development.
Mhm.
It's just a terminology. For these sections that are highlighted, we had comments. We did not do any changes. So we still have current items.
Right.
Where was that one?
Page 30.
Section
36.
Yeah.
or 1 from F to G or to I.
Yeah, that's-
Same for the following section, 4.2. We only had discussion and comments, no changes to this part.
Hallie, just to point out, I had created a different version for good or for bad, but I think at the last meeting we talked about deleting B under section 4.2 B.
Accessory structures such as the garage or barn may be converted to a principal use allowed within the district. You deleted these? This section, number 2?
I believe we did, but you guys please correct me.
The easiest thing, Jason, I can compare the two documents, but I'm sure you have a good memory, so I'll just mark it like this.
Unless the folks in the room, remember differently or they want to keep it. I think that's what we had talked about.
But Jason, didn't you take ownership of the draft at the last meeting and putting comments on?
I did, and I thought it was in there, so I'm not sure what happened. But and I made a different version that got rid of the comments, which we're not looking at here tonight. So that's
Yeah, the comments I'd put those comments questioning whether it needed to be changed or did it still apply?
Oh, so is it the document you shared over the email?
yes.
Just stop sharing and just open the email.
Well, questions while you're doing that, trying to figure out the version situation. I do kind of recall talking about this. To me, I think it is just kind of stating something which is already the case. I mean, if you wanted to subdivide it and make that structure a principal use, you could only subdivide it under the subdivision regulations if it meets all of the other standards, setback, lot size, parking. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to subdivide it. And if you wanted to just convert an existing structure into residential, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's encroaching on the setbacks or anything like that. It's existing non-conforming. It doesn't increase the level of non-conformity because you're not expanding into the setbacks any further. So yeah, I don't see why you would have this.
I think that's Harry. I think that's what we talked about the last time.
Yeah.
I think that's why we deleted it. But again,
No,
please
I
consider as appropriate.
right. It basically, B states that if you're going to do this, that kind of encouraged that the lot gets subdivided. And it's like, that's not really what the new stuff is. So let's just make this simple. Do we want to, do we want to remove this? Yes or no? I'll do a poll. Mike?
Yes, remove it.
All right.
I'd say remove it.
James?
I'll follow Harry on this one.
The only thing I can think of is it
I
says
made the
word-
comment, so I have to go along with removing because otherwise I look like a fool. So yeah,
it says the word principal use, which is the only thing I can think of. So it's not building an accessory dwelling unit inside that existing garage or barn is not a principal use. That's an accessory use.
correct.
So I don't know. It could maybe run afoul of some other stuff about multiple use of lots having more than one principal use. Well, I guess the other thing is that principal use doesn't necessarily mean it's residential. So this,
Right.
it could be a commercial principal use or something like that. I don't know. I still don't understand why you would have this. It just confuses the issue.
I agree. I think we need to remove it and then,
Right, right, Jason. So this document, the blue text is the one that Jason shared, and this is the one that we're working on. This is the master document. So Yeah, it's under B and I just removed it.
Okay. Um,
I'll keep both documents open, so we go through them both.
For the record, I had excluded in my version all the stuff that I think we were talking about for the next subsequent update. So like a lot of the design review stuff, I eliminated, and I eliminated most of the comments, but I did leave a few of Hallie's for context, just so you know, that's what I was doing with that draft.
I did notice that, and I guess we'll cross that bridge when we reach it, but in Article 5, there are some things that should not have been struck that were in this version that was warned with the agenda. But I guess we'll get there.
we'll get there. Yeah, I know. I saw that they're still highlighted. That's okay.
Okay, so no changes for section 4.6. Same for 4.7.
No change, no change, no change.
Here. If I can recall, these are edits made by Erin.
Right. This was done way back. We actually started
Yeah.
on this, and she changed to conform all the different in the districts, the different dwelling units allowed.
Okay, are you okay with the changes she made
Yeah,
in the table?
I think we all are. I mean, we went through that and approved all that. like
That's a
6 months
state,
ago.
that's a state statute
That's
thing.
all state,
I
yeah.
think it applies only in water and sewer areas. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Jason, but, and here it's in every district, but I think it's fine regardless, my personal opinion.
Right.
Harry's right. Yep.
He's always right.
Not always. I try, Cliff.
Purpose of this amendment is to adjust the zoning, the dimensional standards. So I know we did not go through all the documents and we did not change these sections.
Yeah, the next time there was any edits came up under Article 5 Development Review.
Yeah,
I think
kept
that's
them.
kind of where we
Yeah.
end up next.
I just want to go through it page by
Sure.
page so that we don't miss anything. Okay, now Article 5. So the two copies are matching. The only thing you did, I think, Jason, for 5.2, 3, and 4, as you mentioned in the email. Or,
I'm sorry,
addition-
what was the question?
I mean, did not change anything in the first page for Article 5.
I don't believe I changed anything. I think I got rid of changes, and I hopefully
yeah.
appropriately. I was trying to keep this to the Home Act only type changes that we talked about at the last meeting.
Okay, so for section 5A, site plan review, we added
Jason's.
to the sentence, and 3 to 4 units dwelling were served by municipal water and sewer. So
That's the copy he
let's read
generated.
the whole
after our
sentence.
last meeting.
Pursuant to section
That's why we're
5.2
double-checking
and the
it.
Act 4416 shall apply to all permitted uses as designated in Article 2, excluding single and 2 family dwelling and 3 to 4 unit dwelling were served by municipal water and sewer. We're good with this addition?
That's a statutory change.
Yep.
Okay. The same for this, we treat of planned residential development and kept the planned unit development.
Yeah, that was a semantic thing that Jason recommended last time that I think we all agreed with, right?
Yeah.
Let's move to the following page.
Well, essentially, the state got rid of planned residential development as anything that they deal with, so it only makes sense we do too.
Yeah, those
So
strike throughs should not be there. I'm almost positive those were my comments and we elected
yeah, the ones you're talking about all the way down to,
just above section 5.3 on page 63.
correct,
Those should not have been in this draft.
right, all of that needs to be just taken out, those comments and
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but we kind of just blanket decided to not do anything with procedural reviews and stuff like that at the last couple of meetings, right? We're gonna leave that alone and just keep this
exactly.
keep this to a minimum. Yeah.
Keep it to a minimum. We've got a lot of work coming up and we're in a short time frame, really, when you look at it from the town plan side. So, and I think these are all the things that need to be taken in consideration, and talked about as far as how a lot of these procedures go. I mean, technology's changed in the last 8 years. We need to really, update how we look at all of that, and that would bring us back to here for some of those changes. So that's my feeling.
I think there's a lot more we could do here to modernize this, but we'll leave that for another amendment.
I think we'll be here 2 months from now still working
Yes.
on it. And
We'll be here 2 years from now, still working on it.
and I don't think we should. I think we need to move on to the town plan and put Jason to work.
Restore the original text. No
Yes.
changes made.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We should apply.
Here, I see there are highlights, but no changes. So apparently there is a comment in here,
Correct.
nothing more.
Mhm.
All right, so
When we're
we'll
gonna
skip
keep-
this part.
We're keeping all of this.
Okay.
Nothing, this was just comments that got struck out when Harry was just talking about, but
Yeah, those
That's-
strike throughs D3.
it's all gonna go away and it's gonna leave the text. So,
Yeah, D3 through D4 should not be struck.
reject deletion.
Yeah.
I had left the master alone, not knowing if you wanted that for some future record. So again, manage it however you want to do that. But that is why I created a separate document.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we have the two documents in front of us and it's very easy to compare. So that was a good idea. This one is refusing to be restored. I don't know why. Oh. I'll fix it later, so. Just write a note to keep this section. So it's not-
so Harry, we did save a backup copy of this too, so that when we do come back to this, which will obviously be a good while from now, a lot of the comments and the stuff that you have, we can pull back up. So we don't have to look at them again, because there are some really good suggestions in there that need to be. looked
Oh
at.
yeah, I'm not worried about that at all.
Right.
We'll probably pick this back up
We'll pick it right back up.
a year and a half, 2 years plus from now, and
And we'll have Harry's words of wisdom still available to us on the other document, so.
I'm not too worried about that. I just want to make sure that this is,
No,
The
you put
correct
a lot of
version,
time
obviously.
going through and reading and looking at this, and it's important that we, rather than duplicate that again, you know? Especially, who knows, by then you might bail on us.
that's, yeah, who knows? I don't know.
None of us may be here by the time we get.
Be struck by lightning, yeah, I don't know.
Anything can happen. Okay.
Yeah, it's taking a while. I don't
That's
know
okay.
why,
Take your time.
it's
That's what we're
working,
here to
so
do.
I Decided just basic. Okay. Yeah, restart.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So you restored through, did we do section 5? Would you do section 5.4 also, or just that one section? Are we at 5.4 to double check? Because I think those are just comments too.
Yeah. Let's go through it all.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a sentence here in 5.4
Mhm.
that is this one. E. Review by the Design Review Commission. The Design Review Commission shall meet within 21 days after completed application is filed. The applicant shall meet with the Design Review Commission to present and review a design that meets the standards in subsection F. I don't remember why we removed this one.
That was my suggestion, which also should not have been in this draft.
So
We can reject.
Would
You can reject
the
it.
deletion.
We can continue just rejecting all
Yeah,
of
yeah,
these.
this whole section.
Didn't we take it that Jason's draft is
no,
the
no,
reason? Well,
we're
hold on a
using the
second.
master.
No, listen to me for one moment.
Oh, okay.
Jason's draft that was developed at the end of the last meeting considered these comments and rejected them based on the last meeting. So I think when there's, correct me if I'm wrong, when there's a difference between these two, we need to be going to Jason's.
It does seem like we're kind of just redoing the work that Jason did to make
Right.
that clean draft, but I mean, while we're here, we might as well make sure that it's actually correct, right? I mean, I want to put this,
Right.
I
I want
want to put this
I don't
version
mind doing
control
side
issue
by
to
side
bed.
comparing
Of
them.
an actual draft.
I don't mind doing it this way, because if something got missed in the translation, either way, we know at the end of this process, we've definitely got them and got it edits out, and it looks like we want it to look. So,
Yeah.
but I think what you're saying, we should be editing Jason's drafts at the worst to make sure that we got it. what we
Jason's is
want.
probably
I think that's
accurate.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have his document here at this side. I'm also comparing, but it won't harm to go through it again.
Right.
Certainly as we're under a little pressure after the meeting, it would be to go and take Jason's draft or the draft that was developed at the end of the last meeting
Right.
and just make sure it's all captured, because we're doing a manual effort now rather than just comparing the two documents.
So here, also I'll check these.
up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Be glad it's not snow. Yeah. I guess if you're an adamant skier or a snowmobile person or whatever, you'd like it, but
So we will need to update the format and the numbering and everything to clean up the documents.
right. Yep.
Here also, I think keeping this section 5.5, the changes on the name, title, plant unit development, minor edits here, or removing PRD and keeping PUD.
Right.
Yep.
I think that's all we actually did in that whole section.
Right.
Should be.
I think this section should be removed. Residential.
I included that, so again, change it if you'd like, but instead of saying PRD, I just said residential PUD.
Okay. I see you need changes here. Or am I on the wrong section? Lost. Okay, here. Standard, specific to land. But Jason, the thing is that we're removing residential and we're keeping plant. So why is it here added as residential and we remove the plant? We're using plant.
I view this as semantics. You know, you statute does no longer call out planned residential developments, but you still could have a PUD that's just all residential, and that's really what I was trying to do there. You're welcome to change it if you like. I think it's really semantics.
Committee, which version would you like to keep for F? You have both in front of you at the screen.
Well, we discussed it at the last meeting, and we used the draft, what Jason put in the discussion now, I think, or the result of that. I'd say we follow Jason's.
With that, yeah. Yeah, what we had in Jason's document is, because we did go through this section.
Yeah, this whole section E, which is what Jason is referring to, is talking about residential PUD. So what if there is no, it's all residential, and this is like specific standards to that. So that's why he's just making it consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I would do is let's move on with Jason's version from now on.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's,
and I'll copy everything from Jason's document or starting from section 5, right?
okay.
And towards the end.
No,
Section 1 as well, make sure we had a
Yeah, I'll
Couple of bits in
compare
there.
the two documents and take
Good.
the changes from. Here we have no changes until.
well, the next area that we had some discussion on, and I'm not sure where it up was in the flood area, whether it's 1 or 2 feet.
Right.
Article 7 definitions, we have B added. Is this something you added, Jason, or I cannot see who did that?
Yeah, that we at the last meeting there was a blurb at the very end, and we basically just repeated it under that new F. So, we're saying the same thing at the beginning and at the end of the definitions, just for clarity.
Okay. Okay. The abutting owners of all properties. So if you approve these, I think we're good to go.
I don't know that I have Jason's document. Jason, you sent your document in the email?
Yeah, I sent that. Was it yesterday? I don't know. Recently.
I'm gonna open that too, because the thing that popped up on mine had to do with the flood side of things. And
Yeah, we're talking about
we have 1 foot and 2 foot in different places, and it's
5.6 on
and it all needs to be either 1 or 2. And I think
78.
we were going to changing them to 2 feet, right? Is that what it
yeah.
was?
So Hallie, this is page 78. We had a long discussion about that. There is still one place that says it looks like we've edited them all to say 2 feet, but there is one place that's highlighted in red that says 1 foot, and I'm not sure if that was
I'm not.
intentional for some reason.
I think it just got missed. Jason,
Right.
do you remember that? Or because it's in the text, it could easily get missed.
Page 78, you said?
Yes, it should be.
I want to go back. I'm looking at
Which
Jason's
section?
document.
This is Jason's document, the one on the screen.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Should be non-residential development.
Right,
Flood.
C, residential and
B, so, subsection B.
yeah.
Yeah.
let's see where I saw that.
I don't believe I touched that section. I don't really remember why that's in there, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure either. But
Well-
it needs to be one or the other. And the question is, and I think we talked about this last time, is which one it needed to be.
Yeah, Jason, could you remind us? I thought you had said that maybe the best thing to do would be to not change it, because a lot of this comes from boiler, like the model flood bylaw from the state, and that maybe we shouldn't update it to 2 feet.
I think we talked about that. I think the other aspect is that I believe the insurance requirements are now 2 feet. And so I don't know that there's a harm in doing the 2 foot if the
Okay.
insurance companies are requiring it. But, and then I had, after the last meeting, I reached out to Ned Swanberg, who works for the state. And I said, Ned, do you need to review this if we're just changing the 1 foot to the 2 foot and nothing else? And he never replied. So usually when you're changing flood regs,
Your tax dollars at work.
the state needs to review it to make sure they meet the requirements. So I don't know what to tell you there, except probably to run it by him would be a good idea.
Okay.
Well, we do have, even that after if we approve it, I just want to be consistent. So we should remove B subsection I to where it says elevated to 1 foot above to 2 foot above, and keep that consistent. If we find out that needs to be changed back to 1 feet, remember, this is our final draft. It's not our final regulations. We can certainly go back and edit that to make it conform.
I agree with that approach. If you guys do.
Yeah, but I just want consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense.
So,
Two.
Too, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm fairly sure when I did the house on Main Street to get talking about flood insurance and talking to them, they wanted 2 feet. And I had to put flood doors in it and all kinds of crazy stuff.
We have time to get a response from the person that Jason mentioned.
I mean, even after the public meeting, that's the whole point of the public meeting. They may say, we want this, this, and this. We suggest this and that. If we adopt those changes, we make those changes. So that's why it's a draft.
Right. Having our hearing is really just the first step, and there will be multiple opportunities to.
Right. This is to finally get something in front of the public that they can look and go through and see exactly what we're doing, and see if they have any suggestions and improvements. I like to keep it positive. But I think that was the only change to that one sentence that I found.
Right.
Don't see any changes to the remaining parts.
Well, the only other thing is in definitions.
Yeah.
The eminent Dan Jones came up with a good suggestion, which we wanted to define a butters better. And that was changed, I'm pretty sure,
Yep.
to lead.
That was a good note.
As we found, that was a good call, good catch.
Okay.
We had tried to clean up some redundancy with Jason also with like coverage, lot coverage, building coverage.
Yeah.
So those changes were something we talked about. Those should be in there.
And then we made a note in two places to say that as far as the definitions are concerned, whatever the state definitions are, the actual precedents, but this is more of a reference here than it is an absolute because the state's the absolute.
Okay.
So
I remember I added this.
Yes, you did.
Definition 104. So do you want to keep this path here?
where, wait,
Lot coverage, lot, total lot area by 100% and total it like here. This one.
the definition of
Page
lot coverage. Yeah, I did see
104
that
for
down there.
lot
That was,
coverage. So
that was,
maybe we should keep only the text and remove this part.
Yeah, I think our main discussion last time was about there not being consistency throughout the document, like in the current document, not even things that we've edited in, but between building coverage, just coverage, and lot coverage.
right.
And this, in terms of what's actually regulated, and it seems like it's usually structure coverage or building coverage in most of the, like in Article 3, like in the dimensional standards and stuff, but then there is this definition for lot coverage as well, which goes with impervious surface area, which also includes paving, which the structure coverage would not. So I think we just wanted to kind of decide which one's which and which one's the one to regulate and where. Because I don't think we found any other at least one of these there was never referenced outside the definitions, I don't think. Like it was just a kind of orphan definition that didn't actually define something that was used anywhere.
I will add that under section 4.7I, it talks about lot/building coverage. I find this confusing. I guess I'm not clear if the coverage standard is, what is it? Does it include driveways or not? I'm still not clear.
Right.
Final decision? Or would you like to move?
Well,
on?
and this is what we're saying here is that the lot coverage is the total area of the lot.
Well, it's the total impervious surface area.
Right.
So including paving. Built structure and paving, basically, how much of the lot is covered.
Which I still just don't understand because lot size would be the same thing.
Lot size would be the same thing, but in certain districts, we do regulate coverage, which is like, so can you build up completely to the setback, or do you have to leave some impervious surface or some open space? So it's a different mechanism, but
I'm still confused about that because the setback already covers that. You can build to the setback, but the setback's a setback.
right, you can never build to 100 right up to the lot line, except maybe in the downtown district because there's no setback, but this is an additional regulation on top of that.
Right.
Like in the areas, we could go through Article 3 again, or Article 2, whatever it is, and look at it, but it's like, in some districts, it's like 20% coverage maximum. So you can't even get close to the setback in practice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
I
don't know
remember-
that it's what this is just a definition for it. It's not part of the regulations of it, but, and as Jason was saying, we don't really use lot coverage in the actual.
I remember, Cliff, when we added this definition, because when it stayed here, the old version, C coverage, and you go to coverage, there's nothing there. So we added this here to clarify exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Good point.
My point, the definition is correct.
And that,
If we're
this
in agreement.
statement, the full statement, all in red, it came from the state side, right?
Right.
So I think we just leave it as it is.
Yeah, my suggestion is to remove this part, this one, we don't need it.
Right, the lot coverage percent equals stuff.
Yeah.
Get that out of there. I agree, because that's what's confusing.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand what it means. I don't know that it means anything, actually.
When we receive permits, we need to pick all the dimensional standards and do the maximum coverage for all structures. So probably that's why I added that, but let's stick to the text.
Okay.
I have to just point out that, in the zoning district section, Article 2, the standards talk about the maximum structure coverage. And then here we're defining, building coverage, and then we added structure coverage, C, building coverage, but then lot coverage is something, it's a separate definition. I just find the whole thing a little confusing. I'm not quite sure what's expected of an applicant.
Okay, good point. So do you think we should remove it?
Well, I still think 4.7 is a little confusing, and it might warrant just thinking about what do we mean here?
Right.
There's
You have it.
something from East Montpelier that says lot coverage is the percent of the total lot covered by buildings and impervious surfaces.
Well, that's what,
So that's the distinction. Building coverage is just buildings, lot coverage includes.
Santa Claus? Tree, small one. Oh, yeah.
And I would say that's typical, but I'm just pointing out, like, if you look at table 2.9, for example, it says maximum structure coverage, 75%. So does that mean 75% of the lot can be covered by structures, or structures plus impervious surfaces? I think the intent was structures only.
Structures only, that's right.
And so I don't know why necessarily we're going with the impervious surface part of it, because that's not really what the standard is in Article 2.
Yeah, okay, so a control F can maybe be helpful here. So lot coverage is mentioned 5 times in the bylaw. 3 of them are in the definitions. And one of them is the thing that Jason just mentioned, which is section 4.7 lot and yard requirements, I, lot and building coverage, lot/building coverage. And then the other time it's mentioned is in section 314, mixed uses, number 2 on page 31. The combined use meets all applicable standards for the district in which the mixed use is proposed, including minimum setbacks, frontage, and maximum lot coverage. But it's not mentioned anywhere else in the body of the text except for those 2 places. And the standards are pretty unclear. So I think the only thing we currently regulate in a meaningful way is structure coverage.
Right.
So it might make sense to just remove reference to lot coverage.
And I think we had some other references to lot coverage, but we had the discussion that the setbacks take all that into an account in the end. I mean, you have a certain amount of space and if you have a percentage you can develop on it. And if you look at the setbacks, that's going to define the area that it can be. I don't know. I mean, it is confusing.
Remove it?
I think that, I don't know.
The definition is,
If we're going to remove the definition and we have it other places in the documents, that's not good either.
2 other places?
2 other places. So.
Right.
Obviously, update that if you.
So we need to remove it in all the places is
Right,
the suggestion.
which, yes,
I would be in favor of that and just changing it
For
to
that, you would
I'd keep it.
keep it?
Yeah. It's, there's a definition in there, and it's for a reason, and I'm not sure what it is, but
Based
I
on.
don't think it is for a reason because it doesn't actually have a regulation that goes with
There's
it.
nothing that goes with it is the point. It doesn't make much sense.
This is really just a question of housekeeping, but if we're trying to tighten it up, then
You know, it's based on what the state has. We're not doing anything against the statutes or the definitions identified there. And
there's no state statute that says you have to regulate lot coverage in a bylaw.
right, but
Mr. Chairman,
Dan?
it seems to me that there are two different purposes here. One, you're concerned about buildings because that relates to what you see when you look at the space. But if you include all impervious surfaces, it's relating to water flow and how water that falls on the site is managed, whether it sinks into the ground or runs off into the street into a storm drain. Since there are two different purposes, there should be two different definitions and specifications for each, I would think.
That's correct. Yeah, no, they are two. The point of them is to regulate different things. But what I'm saying is that the bylaw currently does not, in effect, regulate impervious surface lot coverage on its own. There are A&R permits already for that. So it would kind of be, in my opinion, redundant to do that. If you go over, I think, 10,000 square feet of impervious surface on a development, so think like a commercial, I don't know, like a pharmacy or something that has a decent sized parking lot, it would trigger a state stormwater permit, and it would be reviewed by A&R, and the development would be subject to getting that permit. So to me, it's just a bit redundant to regulate impervious surfaces in a bylaw. But the structure coverage, yes, is like to prevent kind of like nuisance, whatever, casting a shadow on other people's houses or building structures, whatever, just big imposing buildings and stuff like that is the point of structure coverage. Do I necessarily agree with that? No, but it's the only thing that we're regulating right now. We're not really regulating impervious surfaces in practice. We just have a definition that doesn't actually connect to anything at the moment. Sorry, that was kind of convoluted. I don't know, Jason, do you have
Yeah, I was
thoughts
gonna
on,
say,
do you
Jason,
have thoughts on impervious
What do
surfaces,
you
Jason?
think?
I think that there's a policy basis for either. I think I'm not opposed to either necessarily, but I think what are we trying to do here in this zoning bylaw, and I don't want to confuse applicants or the DRB or anybody else. So I think it seems to me that all you're really effectively regulating is structure coverage right now. And so I don't know why you need to define the lot coverage unless you want to change how you're doing it.
I agree with what he said. It was much more concise, but that's what I meant.
yeah, but yeah, okay.
And I agree. That's what I was thinking. So I'm glad you said it that way. That's what I'm saying. If we keep it, we really, in practice, need to go back to all the other dimensional standards and include it back in. And make a policy that goes to that. And we didn't have that before. So
Right.
I just think that removing it makes the
But
most
we
sense.
had it, but it was not identified.
Right.
It has C coverage. That's it. That's why we added it from the beginning. But if you're,
I mean, I don't
Fine
mind
with
leaving the
removing it.
definition because the definition refers to the statute. And as Harry says, those type of things are going to end up coming up anyway, to A&R and that side. So I don't have a problem with leaving the definition there.
anyway, anything that is not included in our bylaws, by default, it goes to
To
the
the
state
state, right.
definition. So there's no harm of,
Right, and we say that in two places here, that it goes to the state. I think the simplest thing to do at this point, I'm for leaving it, the definition in. I know it's a little confusing, but on the other hand, if you actually look at each zoning district and what we have there, if it's not referencing it in particular, then as you say, it's going to go when it goes into the process of design review, development review and all of that, that's when it would come up.
I don't really care if we leave the definition. It's more of a usability issue just because it may confuse someone. It may confuse.
It will confuse the zoning administrator.
Right.
Who process is the.
It's more of a usability issue. It's not really.
I'm not
just lucky.
confused for now.
Well, you're the zoning administrator. What would you prefer? You want to leave it or remove it?
That's why it's one's harm to keep it.
Okay, I think let's make a decision. Who wants to keep it in? Right?
I'm a no, but I mean, I would.
Okay, Harry?
I vote to remove it, but
Okay,
I'm only
James?
one vote. Keep it.
Crap, comes down to me.
You can remove
If I say keep it, we're stuck and we have a tie. What do we,
I'm not a
do we
committee
use swords
member.
or how do we resolve this?
No, if it's a tie, then we leave it the way it is.
I think, okay, I will go with that. Let's go ahead and delete it.
But you said delete it?
I thought you guys said to leave it, remove it. I was two of
I'm
us.
sorry, which way are you voting?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go ahead and go to remove it.
Okay.
That's what we.
I thought
And
you.
the reason for that is
All right.
because initially I was thinking of keeping it, but I go back to what I said before. The problem is that it's confusing with everything in the other standards, and it's already in the definitions from the state, which are referred to in two different places here.
So
So-
the right way of editing this is remove what I added and keep and delete this part, because this is how the original regulations has it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we move on.
Yes, we do. Okay.
Just make sure that we're on Jason's document. Yeah, it's the one.
All right,
Mixed-use development contain or more principal uses, including at least one residential. Yeah, so, here is something, for example, in the industrial, district, it allows, mixed use, but it does not allow residential. Here, the mixed use puts the residential use in condition of having a mixed use. Because it says at least one residential use and non-residential use. So,
and that's the mixed use definition? Which one are you looking at?
mixed use development definition, page 105.
Okay, I see it in red. There are two more principal uses.
My understanding for a mixed use is two or more different uses within the same district use tables. Here, I remember we added that at least one residential use as a condition for a mixed use development.
Yep. I think that makes sense.
I think that makes sense.
So let's keep it.
You don't think so?
Then the industrial use table does not make sense because it has mixed use there and there is no residential use in that table.
So where is that?
Industrial?
In the industrial district up in Article 2?
Yeah. the
Yeah,
use
so
tables.
that's a solid point because it really shouldn't probably, I think when we're looking at industrial, we're thinking mixed use on, different types of,
Oh, because you're saying it includes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least
Right.
one
So I think-
residential use.
I think it needs to come out of industrial then, according to what that definition says, right?
Yes,
But
so.
there are mixed uses in that district. Aren't there?
In industrial, the mixed uses, but they're,
They're existing non-conforming.
Yeah, we don't want to remove any use that is actually reflects the current status. I think we have mixed use in that district.
I mean,
Does that mean,
It would just become an existing non-conforming. I mean, there are residential uses in industrial district too, but they're currently not allowed technically if they were permitted now.
Here's another idea. Since we want to go back again to that district and look into the use tables again after our town plan, let's keep it as is. And let's keep this in mind.
okay, I think that's a good idea, because we're gonna get dragged down into who knows what.
All right, let's move. Page 106, again, the planned unit development, we're removing residential and we said we want to keep the residential, right?
What I was trying to do before, Hallie, was get rid of planned residential development and replace it either with PUD or residential PUD, where it's only for residential uses.
So it's right like this?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Back to coverage, C, building coverage. Where is building coverage? All right, page 111, temporary shelter. Did you add this, Jason? Is any facility the primary purpose?
I think that was Aaron who added that. That is a statutory change with the Home Act.
Yeah, we talked about that at the last meeting,
Yeah, and
Also-
there is a reference for that.
that,
So let's keep it.
we had a discussion of what is a temporary shelter? Well, there is a definition.
Yeah, I think the confusion is that some people took that to mean like a tent, but it actually means a homeless shelter.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a change was variance, right? What did we do there?
Variance.
And that was added a long time ago too. I think that was just added that definition and that was done in February.
Okay, so there is no change for variance definition.
And then we add for statutory consistency, we reiterated that the definition terms, again, at the bottom of the document, referring that it goes to the state statute and federal and all of that. Referring to 24 VSA chapter 117. So in case they missed it above, it would be there, making it very clear. We did not go into traffic at all, right?
No, we did not touch this section.
So-
Well, I think we're done.
I think we're done, people.
Can we maybe clean up that? I hate to say it, but can we maybe clean up the other places where lot coverage, structure coverage, et cetera, are mentioned while we're doing this, or maybe just direct Hallie to do that on her own time, make it all consistent terminology? It really is a semantic issue. I don't know if we really need to go through and do this all right now. I know we deleted the definition, but it's in two places. It's
No, it is.
mentioned,
And that's
but
what.
there's no regulations.
So
Which one you don't?
And then we still have the circular thing of building coverage refers to structure coverage, refers to coverage.
right. And that's all stuff that definitely needs to really get dealt with. But the question is, are we
Which one?
really worried about doing that now? Or we're going to do that after we come back after the town plan and just at that point make the changes we need to. But I do think if we're going to have, what were the other two places where the land,
It's in, let me find it again real quick. It,
Under mixed use, so 314,
number 2. And
Let's take a quick look at those. Let's start that one.
4-7.
4-7, yeah.
Yeah, 4-7I.
All right, so 314, number 2.
And it's basically just mentioned as a disclaimer. It's like gotta comply with blah, 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 including lot coverage, but there's no other regulation of lot coverage elsewhere. So if we just change it to whatever we want the term to be, which if we go with what's in Article 2 in the dimensional standards, it's structure coverage. We just change it to structure coverage everywhere, would be my suggestion.
But the structure is the footprint of the structure, does not include the other cape or
I understand that,
length.
but we don't regulate the impervious, so we don't regulate lot coverage anywhere. It's just mentioned kind of on its own here. It says, in section 3.14, all it says is the combined uses meet all applicable standards for the district in which the mixed use is proposed, including minimum setbacks and frontage, maximum lot coverage, and minimum lot size. So it's just a disclaimer saying this meets all of the other requirements. But what I'm saying is there are no other requirements for lot coverage elsewhere. There are no requirements for like impervious surface. The only requirements in the dimensional standards are for structure coverage. So why do we have this thing that makes it sound like we have a regulation about this and we don't?
We had a definition that limited it though.
The definition in and of itself does not regulate anything. It's just a definition.
That's just.
We're putting the, so but having the calculation, doesn't that put a limitation?
I don't think so. I think that was just telling you how to calculate it.
Your point is valid because I never look into the lot coverage when I process permits.
Right.
It's just a formula. I'm looking at it now. It's total lot area divided by impervious surface area times 100 equals lot coverage. It's a formula. It doesn't have a limit.
We remove this from the.
So should we just remove the references to that?
That's what I'm suggesting, but
Because there's,
That would require to go to every section where lot coverage is
There's-
mentioned. I can do that.
yeah.
Control F.
But I be able to
I
do that
think they
now.
pointed out there's only 2 other places up here that it actually shows up besides it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And-
2 places, yeah.
and, the first one was the mixed use.
Yep. 3.142.
And so combined uses meet all applicable standards for the district in which the mixed use is proposed, including minimum setbacks and frontage. We would stop there, and minimum lot size. Is that what we're suggesting to change that sentence to?
you could say, because we do regulate structure coverage, you could say structure coverage. Just don't say lot coverage because it's not a thing that we regulate.
Just replace the word lot with structure.
Exactly. That's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So is that what we want to do?
I'm in favor of that, yeah.
Oh, Harry.
I'm sorry to harp on it, but we already spent so much time talking about coverage. We might
That's
as well.
why we're here. This is the last
Right.
time we're gonna do this until we, that could be brought up at a public meeting and somebody could suggest it too. So let's, I think so too, James. Okay, so let's just change that in there to, structure coverage.
Which section?
And then it comes up again.
4-7I.
4-7. Letter I.
Yep. Lot/building coverage.
Yeah.
Percentage I.
And that actually, that whole section kind of confuses the issue because it's using them interchangeably and determining the percentage of lot or building coverage. So I think that's what Jason was mentioning earlier.
Yeah,
You have to pick one.
I think you got to delete the last clause on that piece.
the whole thing.
No, just the last bit where it says "and for lot coverage." I think that part, yeah, right there, just goes away.
But wouldn't we just get rid of the title of that section, lot/building coverage, just
I
call
would
it,
get rid of all the places where it says lot here.
right?
Yeah, I would delete lot, but that last clause is talking about the impervious surface area, which
Right.
again we're not regulating here yet
Right.
at this point.
Okay. So stop at the word accessory buildings, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I just removed it like this, just to be obvious for public when they review the changes.
Okay,
And you mentioned it's mentioned in another place.
Well, yeah, so I mean, it says the percent in determining the percentage of lot or building coverage, so get rid of that. Sorry, I can't tell if that was already struck, but
It's removed in this one.
whatever.
It's a
Yeah.
different document that we don't have for that.
Page 106 is also mentioned, so I'll remove it here. It's everywhere. Page 31. 5, 6, 1, 2.
Isn't that what we already talked about? Mixed uses, section
Yeah.
314.
Yeah. That's, yes. That's definitely.
Remove this.
I think probably the intent right there is to keep it, just change lot to structure, but that's just me.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's what we talked about.
That's about the size of it.
Let me go back to it just in a second. Yeah, here. Structure you mentioned. Structure. Right. All right. Just make it green so that or red. We know it's a change.
Sorry to hold up the process, but
well, this is why we're here. Get her done.
get her done. Well said. Is that Abraham Lincoln?
Fat drunk guy. Could be me. Okay, I think I found them all. The document's just using the word lot. Oh, here's a lot coverage under page 110. Did you get that one? It says plan development.
Yeah, the PUD definition. Is that? I think Kelly just got that right.
This one, it's 106 here.
Yeah, Jason's draft. The pages are a little bit different on Jason's.
Okay,
Maybe,
because we have plan unit development, residential.
yeah, it's the same section. I
And
think.
then, okay. Then I think we got them all, hopefully.
Not to belabor it, but I think you want to keep coverage there under the planned unit development. You just want to say structure coverage, not lot coverage.
Right.
You're wanting to be flexible with that standard as well for a PUD.
Okay, yeah, that's the place that I was talking about. I thought we caught that. Okay. The other thing is the next one, are we at river corridor now where we had the definition put in there? I think we already talked about that, right? Or did we not? And that was added back in February, and that was it was just a missing definition from state statute. So that should be fine. Existing variance. Traffic, there was no change. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I think you declared us done before I brought it back to that. So
I didn't declare anything. Now I'm gonna
We can come
declare,
back.
unless there's something else that we want to find, which I'm perfectly fine with that. I think we've hit the bottom of the document, so, the question is there any other changes anybody has, or do we want to call a motion to approve this as our working document, as our draft with these changes made?
you mean you want to move to go to hearing? So
The next thing that we would do is the next meeting would be, we would talk about establishing a hearing date, but at this point, we would take this one, finally do the final edit cleanups that we need to do to make it look pretty, get rid of the spaces and pages and whatnot. And at that point in time, we would then send the copy to the surrounding towns for comment and make the draft available to the public. And then at the next meeting, we'll go ahead and set a date because we're going to need to check with the calendars of what dates are available and use the space and everything else to come up with a public hearing on it.
sorry, are you calling a vote to go to hearing now though, or you plan to do that at the next meeting?
The next meeting, I'm calling a vote to say that we approve this as a draft.
But we're not setting, so we're advancing at the hearing, but we're not setting the hearing date until.
We're not going to do the hearing until the next meeting, right? This is just to get the draft finished. Or do you think we can't really set a date till we check with the calendar and all of that, so.
Well, we can't have the hearing at the next meeting because that's too.
No, I don't mean that. I don't want to do that.
Right.
I'm saying at the next meeting, we'll warn, find a date, and that's 2 weeks out from that meeting, warn that public hearing, and that point in time, get the input. And then after that, our next regular meeting, or whatever the step is, after that, to make any changes from the public comments, if there are some. And then at that point, send it forward to the select board. We'll vote to finalize it on our end and send it to them. That's where I'm looking at it. No, you have any comment? Do you think there's a better route to do that, or what do you think we should do, Harry?
I'm not sure why we need to vote now to make this a hearing draft if we're not going to set a date for the hearing until the next meeting. We might as well just give ourselves more time to review, make sure that the correct version is actually posted and actually semi-final.
Okay.
We all review it. We come back next time and vote to advance this to hearing and set a date. That's my suggestion.
Okay.
Not to further delay the process. I'm just saying if we're not going to do the hearing before our next meeting anyway, why vote now? We should,
Okay.
especially because we've had all this
I'm
goofiness with the version.
fine with that myself. So
Kind of saying the same thing. I mean, we weren't going to advance it to hearing anyway. So yeah, I agree with having the clean document in front of us. Yeah.
yes. Okay. Yeah, and there's some good reasons for that, to just make sure that there is no confusion on anything. But I think we've caught everything that would be there. But I think I will do is before the next meeting, take a look at the town calendar and find some possible dates that we can do it on. I don't know that there's any reason why we can't do it on our next scheduled meeting anyway. I mean, does the public hearing have to be
You mean the one after the next one? We can't do it at the next one because it's not 15 days, but the one after that should be 15 days. So if we can get it in the paper at least 15 days in advance of the June meeting, then
Okay,
hypothetically, yeah, we could warn it to be like during our normal time slot. There's no reason we can't do that.
wait, we could do that, or we could do it sooner if we wanted to advance it sooner. Okay.
Right, we could have like a special meeting as long as it's 15 days out.
All right, well, let's make that decision at our next meeting as to when we're gonna warn that then. And I'm fine with that.
And will we have the draft ready?
Jason has a comment.
Jason, your thoughts?
Just a friendly suggestion that you should have a written report about the proposed changes at that time when you
Yeah.
finalize the draft and set the hearing schedule.
Yeah, this is what we shared with the abutters, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It just describes the changes.
I'm aware of the process.
Okay. And that should work on a timeline for us for sure then let's go ahead and at this point, there's really I don't know that we need a motion to approve anything that we have here, or do we? I don't. think
Not
we
if
do,
we're
right?
not
I'm
advancing.
saying
this.
we don't need to until.
We don't need to do anything right now if we're not
Okay.
advancing this to hearing
I
now.
guess, yeah, reaffirm my understanding. So potentially we would vote to have, at the next meeting, to have it at then our subsequent regularly scheduled meeting, which would be June 11th. That's when we would potentially try to have a hearing. Is that what we're saying?
I think so, right?
Okay.
That would be what I'd like to see happen, yeah. Okay. I really don't want to go much further past that.
No. I just want to make sure that's what I heard.
Yeah, you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think we need any kind of a motion or anything, because it's just really our structural stuff, so.
Who are we having prepare the report? Because that's a good point. I mean, it really just has to be ready.
It would be how it-
It just has to be ready in time to go out with the
Yeah.
warning notice. It doesn't have to be ready for the next meeting, just when the warning goes out.
And
But,
is
sorry,
a report a list of the changes before the actual?
it's a summary, yeah.
Yes, summary of the changes
Yeah.
made to the document. And I think we need also to provide something like cover letter,
The warning notice, yeah, well,
the warning notice and a cover letter for the report. So, or within the report, the first pages, like,
it'd probably be helpful to go out to the abutting towns and stuff like that. And the RPC, which is Jason, but, yeah, to have just like a little blurb that says, here's what we're trying to do and whatever, but yeah.
And that's all the stuff we'll review at the next meeting,
right. So,
and then approve it all in a big lump right there and then move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense.
Okay?
okay, yeah, I'll get this ready for you.
We have a mission. Okay, so I think we're done with the zoning bylaw amendments for now. And we can turn it over to Jason, who wants to bring us up to date on the regional plan.
Well, I'll try to make it quick. We had our draft regional plan reviewed, a preliminary review by the Land Use Review Board. Not surprising to you all, the prison site was the primary area where there were a lot of comments. The Land Use Review Board submitted their comments to us about a week ago, and they said no. Basically, no, they didn't like the village area idea for the prison site, and they cited some reasons, but essentially they didn't think that met statutory requirements. So they're suggesting that we call it something else. Some of us have talked about, number one, we shrunk what we were talking about for the prison site down significantly. Right now, the draft is showing essentially just the fenced in area only. And I'm forgetting the acreage. It's maybe 16 to 18 acres, something like that. And we're thinking that we might call it simply a redevelopment area. And really be a little bit vague and allow the town, ultimately the new town plan and zoning to really determine the finer details. Are there any concerns or thoughts on that?
Just so everyone is crystal clear, you're saying this would not be eligible for Tier 1B as a redevelopment area, correct?
The Land Use Review Board made it very clear that they were not going to allow a Tier 1B for the prison site. So this would not be
Okay.
eligible for that.
Just want to get that on the record because it's been very
Yes,
controversial.
it would be a full Act 250.
Right.
Um,
Normal jurisdiction for Act 250.
Correct.
Yeah, and also at that point in time, if and when, big, huge if, it's something that if the town decided they could actually, bring it to the voters also to make a determination at a town meeting, potentially, depending on what was happening with it. If that's a direction we wanted to go. So it's a plethora of opportunities, but the point is that I think what we want to declare is that we really don't want it to become another prison environment. I just read again today, there's concerns in the state having to do with people that are being released into the public because they don't have any place to house them. And some of them are actually murderers, but they cannot stand trial because of mental deficiencies. And I would hate for the state to all of a sudden say, well, you know what? We got a place that would hold that under 100 people already that we could go and reutilize, and we own it. So I think we'd all be upset about that. And by making this statement, we're kind of declaring that's the kind of things we don't want. And we certainly want to have the opportunity to have a big say in whatever happens there. Be it from something being developed to there's people here tonight who disagree completely that anything, including Brendan, that there should be any development there. And that's a healthy debate, and that needs to happen. But the thing is, it's not going to happen now because there's nothing to debate about. It's not ours. So I think that makes sense to go that direction. Why don't we poll the board exactly what it?
Would it come under the town plan?
It will.
I think Jason sort of
It
mentioned
will.
it could be that. Would that be
That's-
the place to develop that idea?
It absolutely will, and that would be part of the town plan project to say what is the will, what do we vision that area to become if and when it ever does become available to us, and that will be part of the town plan.
Yeah.
And I expect some healthy discussion about that as to how that's going to end up being thought about. But for now, we have to have the regional plan completed and approved by us so that Jason can move forward. And so you were saying specifically, what was the term you were saying to put in there?
We could have a conversation about that, but at the moment we're thinking we're just going to simply call it a redevelopment area. And I should say the select board met last night. They revised the tier 1B resolution to exclude, they're not including the prison site. It's only the downtown and the surrounding area. So that change has been made. And I really just want to check in with you all about what we're thinking of changing it, since the land use review board will not allow for that prison site to be a village area or tier 1B.
And I had sent back in an email that I thought one of the definitions is very close to what you're saying. And I just used the word potential redevelopment site of redevelopment area as kind of a visionary thing, using the word potential, but that doesn't, that allows for just about almost anything to happen as far as where we go from there. But I think redevelopment, either way, I think that's fine. My opinion. Let's get everybody's opinion on this because that's what you wanted to know. Mike, you want to?
You want to take?
We'll do public after we do the board. We do the decision first.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have a strong, I mean, my stance on what that property should be hasn't ever moved from what I think I said a few meetings ago. I want to obviously make it possible to be redeveloped. I don't have and so I don't know if the term, if what you suggested, Jason, is the best for that. But yeah, I want the door to always be open for that. And I don't have, I don't think there's a perfect proposal out there. That's what I want for that area. So.
Okay.
I agree with what Mike said, and obviously it sounds like the land use review board and the select board have already made their will and their intentions clear on this, and I have no issue with that. So, but yeah, similar to Mike, I don't want to do anything through what is within our power, our very, very limited power to foreclose on the possibility of that site maybe being redeveloped someday. But right now it's just about leaving the options open. And I think what Jason suggested of just calling it a redevelopment area, it is not exempt in any way from Act 250 is totally appropriate for that. And we'll have a bigger discussion, to James's point, during the town plan process to figure out what scale, what type of use might be appropriate if the ownership situation changes and whatever. But
James?
Yeah, I'm aligned with that. I think it makes good sense to bring back the developable area back to the fence. And we're not upsetting the conservation area.
Right.
So town plan, make sure we're sensitive to the area and do something constructive inside.
Yeah, and Jason, if I remember right, when the LURP made the decision, they also, as part of it, said that the town plan did not, in its current state, address anything with that site. And so that was another reason why they were not willing to consider anything, because it wasn't in the town plan. Is that right?
That's essentially right. Yep.
Okay. All right, well, we take a couple of brief comments. I don't want to get too deep with it, but Dan, you had something you wanted to say.
So all of the mapped areas have a definition in the state law. Rural conservation, rural general, village area, and so forth. If you map this as a redevelopment area or a potential redevelopment area, is the regional commission going to include a definition of that? Will we have that definition or a draft of it by the May 26th meeting?
I hope so. Yeah, state law and the LURB was suggesting that we create our own unique category for this area. And so, yeah, we are going to have to come up with some language to define it, and we've yet to do it, but we will be doing it, and I'm open for discussion on that too.
And that's where the meeting that's coming up would be, where the public would have a chance to review that with you.
So May 26th is our first of 2 public hearings, and we are hoping to get most of our changes, if not done, at least, we'll have a pretty good firm understanding about those. So hopefully we don't need them at that point. We need them when we notice the second public hearing, but I'm hoping we'll be very close to that at that point. And yeah, love to hear more thoughts on it. And I'm hoping that we will have some draft language on the prison site area available before that.
Okay.
Okay, one other clarification.
Sure.
So in the regional plan, there are all these land use designations, and they don't correspond to what is in the zoning regulations. In the zoning regulations, we have all these tables showing, I think it says the purpose of the designation, and then there's a column of permitted uses and conditional uses. So do you envision that each of the new zoning designations on the future land use map will have to then be converted to one of these tables in the zoning regulations or bylaws?
Jason, how do you view that? I mean, it's an interesting discussion. I know what you're saying, but I think it's the opposite. I think we would change ours to conform to the regional plan, because we have to conform to the regional plan. Is that right, Jason?
I would say you do not have to conform necessarily to the regional plan. You still have your town plan. Your zoning needs to be consistent with your town plan. The regional plan, in the town plan have always been a little bit different, but generally speaking, similar. And I think that hopefully will be the case moving forward. So I don't think the regional plan, we don't want to get into that level of detail. We want to leave that up to the town plan and the zoning to talk about, those details. We're really trying to focus on the tier 1B areas primarily. So I hope that's answering the question. Our regional plan is not steering what your zoning needs to say.
Okay.
So to take an example, the future land use map, as it's now set, has some areas that are classified rural conservation. In the town zoning, there's no designation of rural conservation. There's a designation of resource area. So will the town plan stick with the term resource area, or will it have to adopt the term rural conservation for those areas?
I'll let you answer that again, Jason. I think I know what it is, but I don't want to misspeak.
So the regional plan future land use categories are specific to the regional plan. So the town plan does not necessarily need to use those same categories. I think ultimately that's up to the planning commission sitting there, and we'll be going through a process with them to figure out how to update the town plan. So they do not have to be the same, but they could be. But I think generally we're looking at similarities. So resource is very similar to rural conservation. But I think the difference is the regional plan has very slightly different but very specific criteria that we need to follow. The town plan doesn't have that same criteria.
And I think when we start working on a town plan, I think, Dan, it's a good point that where we can have the definitions try to line up would be good to make it less confusing.
Sure.
And that's a reason why you update town plans every 8 years. And it's why it's also good to do it after the regional plan's been updated so that we know what they have. So, but I think that makes sense. I think we should be a little bit clear on that. And again, that goes back to, and like most of the discussions we would have at this point forward is going to focus back to the town plan, which is why I'm trying to get all of this wrapped up so we can get started on working on the meat and potatoes of the town plan, which is going to need a lot of thought. So does that answer your question?
Well, maybe just one more thing. Does the town plan have to be consistent with the
No.
regional plan?
It has to be consistent with it, but we don't have to use the same designations and the same definitions as the regional future land use map, I think is what Jason's saying, right? So we can't do anything that actively disagrees with a statement of policy that's in the regional future land use map, but it doesn't necessarily have to be identical, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I said that right, Jason? Yeah.
If you got a thumbs up, you guys can see it. Yeah, and like I said, we'll get into that, but I think the more consistency, the better on all areas, because it just, this stuff is already almost incomprehensibly difficult to go through, and as an average person and not have spent over a year looking at it, I still am befuddled by a lot of the things that are in here, the way they're done, and I think it's always going to be confusing to people because they're not going to spend that kind of time working with it. So,
Okay, so just one more thing.
but the last one was the final one.
Fine. So do you envision going through a whole new process of amending the zoning bylaws to make all of those tables of the various areas consistent, or as consistent as possible with the regional plan?
Well, we hired Mark as a consultant for the bylaws for us to review those things, and what you're seeing, the changes that were done by them. And so they are consistent with it. It's just maybe the title of the definition isn't matching exactly what and that's causing the confusion. And those were not changed this time around to have anything to do that much with the regional plan or the town plan. It had to do with Acts 181 and 24. And so we had to change specific criteria to allow additional housing in certain places, like accessory dwellings and that kind of stuff that weren't allowed in our old bylaws. And so what you're seeing, that's all the stuff that's incorporated into the state law passed by the state that they've told the municipalities they have to conform to. And so when it comes to the town plan, we're going to look at everything. We're going to use the old town plan as a good starting point and kind of as an outline for things to get going and work on it section by section, and all those things will happen. At the end of that process, some of the things that we'll probably make changes in the town plan that would then need to be reflected in changes in the zoning bylaws. So they will get revisited when a town plan is completed. And those type of things will get cleaned up at that point in time. It's the way I kind of envision it. Okay?
Right, so they all have to align. Just to give a very quick illustrative example though, so like the zoning has to align with the town plan, has to align with the regional plan. So if there was a statement of policy, say in the regional plan or in the town plan that we're about to do, that says, say, for example, in whatever district the prison's going to be in, we had a statement of policy in the town plan that said, no principal retail in this district, right? And that it was a prohibited use as a statement of policy in that district. We couldn't then write a zoning code that says, actually, yes, you can make principal retail there. We want a Dollar General to go there or something like that. That would not be legal because it doesn't align with the town plan. So that's just like one small example of like, say when we mean it has to align, it can't actively conflict with one of those statements of policy that comes from higher up the chain, I guess. So that's what we'll be looking for. I don't know if we'll even run into that problem in the future land use chapter with the town plan, where we then have to go run and change the zoning bylaw. There probably won't be any issues.
Hopefully not.
There aren't that many like hard statements of policy in future land use mapping typically that'll cause problems for that. It's more general guidelines. I mean, the town plan is really a visioning document, except as it relates to Act 250 for the most part, because that's what the state will look at. If an Act 250 permit comes up, they will look to the policies in your town plan. So that's where we have to pay attention.
I think we'll probably be discussing in the town plan the uses of the industrial areas that we've already talked about, remapping
Sure.
where those are going. So I think there will be some things that will come up in those discussions that will probably need specifically to reflect that.
And then we'll want to revisit, the
Right.
zoning and
So-
the zoning map.
But normally, I mean, the process is, the reason we're doing the bylaws now is because we have to, because of the new state legislation that passed. Otherwise, we would not be doing this. We would be starting with the town plan, which would be your normal thing to do. You do the town plan, then you go back at that point and adjust it. We're going to end up having to duplicate it and all has to do with the changes in state regulations is really what's forcing this. And that's why in all the many meetings I've said, we're trying to keep this as minimum as possible in the changes now, because I don't want to see us delving into issues that should be discussed in the town plan for a vision for what we want to do. It's not what we really should be doing now. Okay. Mike? Then we're gonna have to really take, I'm gonna say now we're getting a lot of comments, so I'm gonna hopefully refer that we're doing our public comments area for now, because we need to really finish up here. It's getting late.
Thank you. Is the May 26th meeting scheduled to be held at noon? And do you think that will have a positive or negative or no effect?
That wouldn't be me. That would be, you're addressing Jason then, I assume.
Yeah, the public hearing is scheduled for the 26th at noon, and people can submit written comments. They could call me on the phone. I mean, that's certainly fine. So, if they can't make noon, there's other avenues, and it will be recorded. It'll be, Zoom, a link will be available. So again, hopefully it'll be available to anybody who wants to participate.
Okay.
And is the date for the second one's not set, correct?
Correct. That's right.
Okay.
Okay. We really, now I'm looking, I probably should have had elect officers as the very last thing we do, but is there any, I'm gonna skip over it for now. I don't think there's any other business. Because I haven't heard anything, we didn't make any changes. Is there any other business that we have? Okay. Then at that point, it is the month of May and we have to set the officers for the commission. So,
I just closed my window. Sorry, I lost the agenda. Carry on. Thanks.
so at this point in time, officially, the commission officially has a chair and a clerk. We have chosen, which we're allowed to do, chose to have a vice chair along with that. And I think we should continue that way unless we don't want to. But the question at this point in time is, I guess I'm not exactly sure what the easiest way to go about this is, but we need to come up with either nominations or, I mean, what they've done in the select board, which is kind of awkward, I think, is that they actually make motions before even finding out if there's who wants to do what.
Would you like to continue as chair? I guess would be the starting point, and then we can work from there.
And I think that's an
Would you like to
important point.
nominate yourself?
Shouldn't you find out if people actually want to do the damn job before you ask? I don't know. I've had a pretty rough few months. Yes, if the board commission wants to nominate me, I would accept it.
If it pleases the commission.
It really is. Yes.
I thought I was vice chair though. Are you
Not
saying we
vice
don't?
chair.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying we don't have a.
No,
vice chair.
I'm just going through the statute saying that the requirements for a planning commission is that they have a chair and a clerk. There is no
Oh, we don't have a requirement.
requirements for a vice chair. But, we chose that it's a good idea to have one so that if I can't be here, you can run the meetings and we know the order of what's going on and you know what's happening.
I'm happy to, if it pleases the commission, I'm happy to continue on as vice chair.
Okay.
But I'm not afraid of a contested election either.
You're not, okay. Yeah. I think we should make Brendan something because he's not
well,
here.
he's not in absentia.
The note taken.
But that's what I'm afraid of is he's not here. So the next position that we would need to consider, and we can make a motion on all of them, would be clerk. Mike, would you like to continue?
Like another term.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so since we've all done this and we have a vested interest in our job positions, I'm going to ask James, you can make a motion to,
I'll motion for Mike.
Do you want to nominate yourself for anything? I guess would also be a question.
yeah.
I'm the trainee at the moment.
All right.
You sure you don't want to be chair? It's a hell of a lot of fun.
Not at all. So
It only
I'm
takes
happy
about
to-
10 hours a week.
I'm happy to, if you all support me to carry on as a young one on here, as a commissioner.
I respect your decision.
Not a nomination.
I think we could probably make, and Tom just left just in time. I don't know that there's a problem with making
A blanket motion.
motion to approve. So you could make a motion saying that I would be chair, Harry be vice chair, and Mike would be clerk.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay, make the motion.
Say it.
So moved. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
Make the motion then for Cliff to have a new term as chair, Harry as vice chair, and Mike as the clerk.
Yes.
I guess I'll second that.
Okay.
Assuming we have to do that. Yeah.
Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing no nays, it is passed. And
Here's to another year.
here's to another year of fun in the sun.
Yes.
And unless there's some other thing that came up, but I think we've had the public comments that everybody wanted to say. And I don't see any additional hands because I really want to go home. In that case, then I'm going to adjourn this meeting, the planning commission, 8:06.
So I have one
Wait,
thing to add.
I'm adjourned the
Other
meeting.
business.
No, the business, but under the markup that I didn't get to it, the correspondence that I shared earlier with the group.
Oh, shoot.
Oh,
It's fine. We could save it for.
no,
I,
fine.
no,
No,
yeah.
no, let's
yeah, I'll be
let's
brief.
do it on another business. I think it's important.
Yeah, well, whatever, yeah, so, between meetings, I had a conversation with a member of the public who's in the crowd, Mike, regarding kind of the grasslands, area, obviously the hot topic of conversation all the time, prison area grasslands, and Mike, feel free to come up and talk if you'd like for a little bit, but basically the conversation was just about, that area, kind of how it came to be, and would the commission be interested in, getting some more information about that, the history of it, et cetera. And if so, maybe what would that format be? Would it be maybe talking to us about it? Would it be a report or something like that? And so I did share that with the group. Just wanted to let you know. And if you'd like to say a few words now, or, again, I've shared that I think it's something that would be helpful to us in whatever format that could be. So yeah, just wanted to share that to everyone and obviously to the group here. So.
I think it would be good to have Mike, come to us when we're doing the town plan and maybe put together a presentation about all the stuff. I know you're a member of the birding group.
I'm not really a member of anything, but I do interact.
You're involved with them, and I think that's the appropriate time to have somebody from that group if they wanted to talk to the commission during the town planning process to talk about those areas and what all that means. I think that's, that's the time I think really to go into that. I mean, I've had a few people come up to me too and talk about it, and I feel the same way. I said that's not what we're doing now. It has nothing to do with what we're doing now. But it's important stuff. I'm not trying to diminish it. I'm just saying it's not really on topic. And I think I got a feeling, and I think it'll be a good idea to just have an isolated segment of the prison property. And when it comes time to put that segment into the town plan, that we have meetings that are focused on that. And I wouldn't mind if, depending on where we are in the planning process, that maybe come the next town meeting, as they call it, that we put something that's non-binding as to put it to the vote to the public to say, what would you like to see happen there? Because it's such a hot topic. The unfortunate thing is honestly, I really, now that it's gone back into full Act 250, I don't think there would be a developer that would touch it. They've already had experience, Windsor's already had experience with large scale development that tried to happen up on Hunt Hill Road there. And that was, very expensive.
That was discussed last meeting with the permit abandonment.
And they abandoned the permit, right? Because it was very expensive to them, and those experiences get out to other developers. So even if they do turn it back to us, probably if it's like full Act 250, I'd be shocked if somebody for a 16-acre development actually would want to come in and do something there. I don't think you'd find a business that could see any reason to find a profit in it.
Well, as we've said, it's all a moot point until the state decides to do something. If the current owners have no interest, so
that's the way it is.
But
so
I don't think anyone ever had any intention to do anything with the grasslands, and I'm sure that will.
no,
stay
never
the
was
case
that. I don't think
forever.
that's ever been
Yeah.
talked about. I think one of the concerns that was addressed at the select board meeting last night, I can't think of the person's name, but I might have. He had sent a letter to the select board.
Is it Dan?
Dan Worth.
And Ward.
Wood.
Yeah, I think so. He's an actual abutter up there.
Yeah.
And he was, he was very, very clear. He didn't hold back on his opinion, what he felt, which I think is good. So there's no question about where his thoughts were on that. And that's fine. It's just, again, it's kind of misplaced because all they were talking about was whether we could have tier 1B status there. That was all that was ever talked about that. And for the people who feel strongly that nothing should happen there, then I can see where they'd be opposed to tier 1B status, but it's not allowed, so it's a moot point. We done?
Yes, thanks, appreciate
Can
it.
I go home now?
Appreciate the exercise.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually say that we're gonna adjourn the meeting now at 8:11 PM.
You're here.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Question.
Sure.
I couldn't find Jason's.
It was a PDF form, wasn't it?
It was sent in through an email to and share with the public, and because I didn't want to have one confused about two versions.
Was he left off of that email, maybe?
He mentioned,
so.
yeah, you were to see.
I thought everybody was on that, yeah.
No.
Okay.
So the thing that he
See,
confirmed that.
If
he
you look in your
only-
email, you would have seen it on there. It would have been this one, 05/05/2026.
No, I got nothing from to today.
Okay, well, that's strange. Let's try to figure it out.
Tomorrow.
Turn the mouse on and work.
Brandon.
Yeah.